It is time. I was about to quote David Wood for a second there. That's not our thing. But we are
I don't think
here.
he has that copyrighted.
Aye, that's a good point. Good point. So then, I'm still not gonna say. So I feel like he'll. Actually, he doesn't even know we exist. I don't want to risk it. I want to risk that someday he might just possibly find us in the void of YouTube and come at me, call me a nerd next. Well, actually, you have nerd classes. So I guess you're first on the list. I am also wearing a Daredevil shirt, so I guess I'm also screwed.
My shirt is better.
Oh no! I mean, I could get my hoodie.
Are you wearing red pants?
Yeah.
Nice pajama
Ow!
pants.
I hit myself with the chair. Thanks. I came home from work and I immediately went upstairs and switched.
Yeah.
I was like, no, let me think. After work, I switched into my gym clothes, and then I got home and I was like, it is time for real people clothes, and I went straight upstairs, and here we are. All right. Well, this stream is, for the most part, heavily dependent on those who have their cues based on the fact that we had. I think my favorite part. I'm gonna share this. I think this was kind of funny and weird. Where is it? Here we'll react to our own post that made me confused and sad inside. We let's see here. There it is. Okay, so we put out a little poll saying, hey,
Oh yeah.
let us know what you want us to do. And then I reposted it just to make sure it was on everyone's minds. But Caleb, I got a problem. Why do we have 3 likes and 1 vote? A like is not a vote. A like's not a vote. I was so confused by that. But we got 1 vote for Q and so we said we do other stuff, but I also told everyone to bring their stuff. So we'll see if anyone brings anything. But I am drastically confused how we got from the idea of okay, bring your Q or bring a answer to the poll, and the vote was 3 likes. That confuzzled me for a little bit. But here we are. We got a vote at least. Ugh. Something's attacking my face. And see, we're currently in the clear right now, but we probably could move on to something reactionary, maybe just to get things warmed up. Start lighthearted with Lily J. It's always something funny and stupid. No, you don't want to do that. I can see it on your face. I was just about the fact that she had that show that's coming out, and that made me cry inside.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if she'll wear a hijab in that show.
Oh, she barely wears one now, so I don't think she's gonna
Yeah, I
do it
know,
for the
and people,
show.
her fans get on her about it to the point where like she actually had to make a
Yeah,
video addressing why I don't wear a hijab.
it's oh no, it was something. It's something. It always is with her. But I think what we'll do maybe is maybe we'll give this a little bit. If ooh, we got people here. All right, welcome everyone. Those who I see, well, feel free. This is a Q and R focused live stream, so Feel free to leave. I'm typing and reading and speaking at the same time. A question in the comments, and we will respond or be confuzzled. You know, there's always that. You might ask a question like, "Which is better, waffles or pancakes?" And I'll look at you and I say, "That's the same thing. They're cooked differently, but they're the same
No,
ingredients."
no, 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 no. They're not.
The
Right?
ones
Like,
I've had are the same ingredients. And with that, I
well, yeah,
lost our
okay. So
YouTube
they can
viewer
be
when
the
I said that.
they can be the same ingredients, but it doesn't necessarily make them the same thing.
I mean, ingredient-wise, they're the same thing.
Scrambled eggs in an omelet have the same ingredients. They're not the same thing.
Oh, they're the same substance.
They are okay. So the father and the
They're
son of the
still
same
eggs.
substance, are they the same thing? Are
No,
they the same
no,
person?
I'm not making that argument. I'm not
All
going that
right then.
direction.
So enough of waffle
It's not the
Unitarianism.
direction I'm going. No,
Yeah.
a waffletarian.
Yes. Josh is a waffletarian.
Wait, hold on. Because they're cooked slightly differently, would a pancake be the Unitarian, the waffle be the however many squares it is?
Well, no,
Like a
because the waffle, the squares don't make up an individual person of the waffle. It's still just the
I mean,
same
that's fair.
waffle,
Yeah.
not right, both in substance and in person.
Okay, so what qualifies as the
Now,
waffle then? Because some of them you have, it's always a big circle, but sometimes it's cut like it's formed into triangles with a little
yeah,
rounded
yeah, yeah.
bottom, and some
So
of them
then
are just a straight
are the
circle.
triangles individual persons of the same substance? Does a waffle
I mean,
prove
what qualifies as a
Trinitarianism?
waffle technically? Does the shape matter?
Hang
Does
on,
the
this is
shape matter of
important
the waffle,
research.
or is it purely just the fact that it has a squares?
Hey, look, there goes our viewership. No, I'm kidding. What
What qualifies
qualifies
as a waffle?
as a waffle?
Oh, we're both looking this up right now.
Yeah. A waffle is a dish made from leavened batter or dough that is cooked between two plates, creating a characteristic grid pattern on both sides. Key characteristics include composition, typically made from flour, sugar, eggs, and milk, with leavening agents like the baking powder of yeast. Texture, waffles have a crispy exterior and a fluffy interior, often served hot. I didn't realize the crispy exterior was a requirement. And then it goes into
Interesting. So if it's
variations.
soft, it's not a waffle.
Sure.
So I guess shape is not the qualifying factor. So if it's
No, I
baked
think the qualifying
with like the
factor is that
dividing
it's
line,
cooked. I think it's the cooked between two plates is the qualifying factor. Whereas a
so is a
pancake is
panini a
just
waffle?
no, because like the panini has like ingredients into it. You need an ingredient in the panini to make it a panini. Otherwise, you're just pressing bread. But a waffle, you don't need to put
Okay, so
anything in it
is
for it to be
bread
a
a
waffle.
waffle?
It's a what?
So if I took a panini press and I just put two slabs of bread in there, is it a waffle?
No, because you're with a panini press, you're not actually cooking the food. You're just making it warm and grilled, like a grilled pattern. But all of
Well,
the
I'm saying it's
ingredients
just the
of
bread. Forget.
right. But the point I'm making is that a waffle, right? It says a waffle is a dish made from leavened batter or dough that is cooked between two plates. Right? You're not
Mm,
cooking a panini when you press it.
gotcha. That's fair.
So now we've gotten that out of the way.
Well, hold on. We still have to decide. Like, so if you have a waffle, like a waffle press, and it's a full big circle, but it has a line that divides into four sections. Did you make four waffles or one waffle?
You made one waffle, right? I mean, I feel like that's pretty cut and dry.
I mean, I would think so, but then we're going back to like the whole waffletarian thing. Is that
Right. Well,
four
it would be
waffles in
waffle
one waffle,
partialism, though.
or
It would be waffle partialism, right?
oh,
Because
yeah, that's
those
fair.
four
That's fair.
triangles make up the one waffle. It's amazing how many heresies you can
Man, someone's
explain
gonna
with a
click on
waffle.
this live stream. There's your next video.
What's that? The Trinity's the Trinity
Describing
explained
heresies with
via
a
waffle.
waffle.
Yeah. Yep.
Trinitarian heresies with a waffle. You just pull up a waffle and you just keep using it the different ways, and
The waffle just completely destroyed by the end of it.
do a class session where you just show up with a plate of waffles and you use each one to describe
Excuse
the
me.
heresies of what the waffle is not. No, do a sermon and bring a plate of waffles explaining what the Trinity is not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it works for Arianism, right? Because the
I mean, it
waffle
does.
is a finite creation. You can't have infinite waffle.
No.
There is a time when the waffle was not, to paraphrase Arius.
See, that was the other example of a bad image of God analogy,
A
not
waffle?
waffle, that I couldn't remember. It was some people argued that we're the image because, and they'll say we're mind, soul, and body, and that's when I say, that's partialism.
That's partialism, Patrick.
That's a heresy, dog. So you're saying we're like God by heresy? I just don't think so.
Yeah. Well, and then of course there's the idea of the
I not.
tripartite soul, but even then,
Oh
right? It's
yeah,
tripart.
yeah. I haven't heard that one in a while. The whole
Yeah.
tripartite stuff. I mean, I
Well,
guess like the whole like tri-dichotomy stuff, or
trichotomy.
whatever the official terminology. Trichotomy. Thank you.
Gotcha.
And bicon, or is it bi or die? It's bi technically
Dichotomy.
too. I think I've heard it say die.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
dichotomy, like
that's what I
diegetic.
thought. Yeah. I those were my notes too. I don't know why I forgot about that. I that conversation, at least from what I haven't heard that conversation since like we were in like high school.
Yeah, it's been a
Like
while.
I feel like I'm sure that conversation still floats around, but I feel like it's not like hitting the topic of conversation these days, which is fine. Like it's
Yeah,
not like a needed conversation, but it's just something I just kind of realized. It's like, huh, that kind of disappeared.
yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna be yawning a lot. I am really tired. Um,
Don't worry. I was in my last period of class today. I just laid on the floor, so I was so exhausted. Not even just from work. I was just like yawning. My kids for my lessons walked in. They're like, "Why are you on the floor?" I was like, "I'm not." Like, "Yeah, you are." It's like, "I'm just dying over here." Um, just set up your instrument. I'll be there in a minute.
yeah.
All right.
If I lay down
Any
at my work, I'm gonna get
questions?
trampled. So
Yeah, I mean that's fair. See any cues from our Twitch friends? Doesn't have to be Christian specific. Could be
we just talked about waffles
opinion
for
based. Could
10
be.
minutes.
I mean, yeah.
Would you like to see us
Like it
talk
could
more
be
about
about.
waffles?
I mean, you could request that. Yeah, just let us know what. I mean, probably the easiest one to do would be on TikTok, but then I can't do it with you here, which is not as fun. Then I'm just like everyone else, and then I'm just boring.
Sorry, buddy, we're used to it.
Uh, yeah, I know. Analytics. Alrighty. Any mean, I probably could like look up some fun stuff. Look up questions for Christians.
You went Greek on me.
Kind of.
You went poorly pronounced
Objection
Greek on me.
questions. I know. It's all right. It's not like
Well,
our pastor friend that we love
yeah,
dearly.
really. Yep. Great guy. Can't Greek.
What
Cannot
was it
Greek.
2 weeks ago? He pronounced. Was it 2 weeks ago? He pronounced the word, and I looked over at you from across the room.
Yes. Yeah, we made eye contact across the sanctuary.
Oh
It's
my
that
goodness.
bad. And
Who
we don't
was
have a
it? Do you
small
remember?
sanctuary either. So that's how bad it was.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. Well, I mean, I could pull up to see if AI has any fun ones, just to get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
Hmm. Let's see.
My only concern is I'm going to end up talking about the thing. I'm working on the Friday class that I'm teaching next. And my only concern would be I'll get a
Oh yeah.
question that deals directly with that. I'll be like, well,
Which one are
sneak
you prepping
preview.
again?
Uh, Commonly used scripture to attack the
Awesome.
Bible. Although I did ask
Because you're
people
doing that
for,
after we finish image.
yeah, I did ask people for suggestions because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 right now, and I'd like a few more.
Well, let me see. Here's what we could do. Uh, kind of want to keep it light, and some of the stuff I found that'd be good for reacting more, a little bit more serious or heavy focused, and so I figured that might be good for like a Thursday stream at some point, if it's not, if it's still a hot topic. But considering we opened up with waffles, I don't know if they're the right moment for the stream.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, how about we give it about 10ish more minutes? If nothing flows in, we'll close it out, and then maybe we'll just take down because people don't. I don't think people are gonna want to listen to the waffle rant.
I don't know.
I mean, they might. Maybe I'll just clip that one part.
Yeah. That could be one of our shorts.
Waffletarian.
Yep.
Josh and Caleb invent a new heresy. It's called a waffletarian.
I mean, we
The
knew this
idea
was
that God
going
is like a
to
waffle.
we knew this was going to devolve into a cult at some point. We're just getting it there a little quicker than we thought.
Yeah. The new
Oh my
heresy
goodness.
is that God is like a waffle. Oh,
Well, so did you find any reaction content? Because we could do that at least to have some
um,
level of productivity.
I mean, I found some stuff that was like interesting. I need to find it again. I didn't know if it was gonna fit for this particular stream.
Yeah.
Um, but like, and then some of it was like, oh, I remembered this and it looked good. And then I remembered that it was kind of charged after by Christians almost immediately. Hold on. Let me go to my history. There was one with Alex O'Connor. Um, which I thought was interesting. And then for a lighthearted one, I mean, there was the Michael Knowles and Ruslan, yes or no.
I started watching that, but I ran out of time.
It was fun. Ruslan won by a lot.
I'm not surprised. Um, Knowles is very axiomatic when it comes to his Catholicism. Uh, just kind of points to tradition and his ideas that the doctrine of modern Catholicism has strong roots in first century Christianity. And that's not
Yeah.
inherently true. And so when you get to the foundations of that, which I had to stop listening at that point because I got to work. Um, but at the point I was at, Ruslan was just kind of getting to that. So I'm not surprised
Hmm.
that Knowles lost. But I
Well,
also realized I
here.
realized the game doesn't have much to do with that. But in terms of that conversation, I'm not surprised that Knowles would have lost that.
Well, here. I found this channel earlier, and I laughed because it was rough. It's clips of what they think are top moments that skeptics have debunked Christians.
Well,
There
okay,
was
I
one
see
they did with,
Sam Harris, so we're already off to a bad start.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was an hour long though. Here, what about
Wow, a lot of swearing in
Sky
his.
Daddy Won't Save You? In this one?
No, just all of the look at all of the
Oh yeah,
things. It's
yeah,
just a lot of swearing.
yeah.
Is that Ricky
Well, here, this
Gervais?
one's from a recent. Yeah, right here.
Wild. And
I'm
Lawrence
surprised he
Krauss.
still.
Lawrence Krauss got absolutely annihilated against Mike Jones. Like it was not even
Dude, that
close.
was so funny.
Even skeptics were like, that was a
Yeah.
really, really bad performance from Krauss, and Mike Jones just absolutely demolished him.
You know what? Ricky and Lawrence Krauss. This is from 9 hours ago. Why not?
Yeah. The only thing I could think why not is because
Let's.
Ricky Gervais has a tendency to be quite foul mouthed. But other than that, Josh, we
Yeah.
can date Ukrainian Slavic women.
Yeah. What is this?
It's those.
Block.
It's all of the.
Continue.
I love that it puts it under clothing.
Yeah, it
Like,
makes no
yeah,
sense.
that's not obviously not a clothing ad.
Playback speed. We'll speed up a little bit to kind of help with stuff.
Yeah.
About 1.5.
If there's one thing I would love to be able to get across to people is that religion was doing, and he says religion or some of it. I have a lot of different problems with it, but one is this notion that you don't want your kids to know how the world really works for fear that they'll lose their faith. We don't want to teach them. We don't want them to learn anything because they
Hang
might
on.
change their
Hang
faith.
on.
There's another level of why as well, because they think that losing the
Hold
faith is equated with bad.
Hang
Sorry.
on a second. No, you're good. That we don't want our children to know how the world really works? Are you serious? All right, Lawrence. Can a man be a woman?
I'm pretty sure.
What is a woman,
I'm
Lawrence?
pretty sure. Ever heard of the Book of Job?
I know, really. Like Christianity has not said yes, suffering exists. It's very real. The world will be challenging, but guess what? There's
What
hope.
was the thing that he said? What was the thing that he said to Jones about sex? And then Jones goes like, "Have you heard of the Book of Solomon, sir?" What was
Yep.
it, like Christians can't have sex or something?
Yeah.
Oh
Like
man.
they're afraid to have sex, and he's like, "Have you heard of the book of the Song of Solomon?" Like,
Yeah, no, that's. I'm gonna slow down a little bit just so I can
yeah.
probably just better here, but
But yeah,
Badness.
that
Yeah.
is
So,
nonsense.
but, and some people
yeah, that's rough.
genuinely believe that you won't go to heaven if you don't believe. So they think they're doing a good thing.
Yeah, they
I'm
think-
saving
yeah,
my child
yeah.
from hell.
Yeah. Well,
You
I
know?
mean, all
What?
Well, it's not even that. It's yes, right. We raise our children to be Christian because we don't want them to go to hell. That's a huge portion of it. The other portion is that's passing on our values. That's the job of a parent.
I
Like
mean,
just
that's
like
what
you want to
you
pass
do
on
to
the
your
values that.
kids.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say just like you are passing on the values that you want your kids to have, we are passing on the values that we want our kids to have. Our values built Western civilization. What have yours done?
Complained and cried.
Yeah, yeah. I had a buddy send a meme to me. Uh, actually, when I asked about um, common objections that they've heard, and he sent me the meme that says atheist arguments. God is mean. Christians are mean. If God real, why bad thing happen? I am monkey. Shellfish polyester. Too many religion. Why can't I look outside and see God? If God is real, why do I like men? Right? Like a man. Why am I gay, essentially? An out of context Bible verse. And like that's the entirety of atheism's claims.
Well, especially new atheism. Or sorry,
Especially
new
new
atheism. New
Yeah, really.
atheism.
New atheism.
Because new atheism has been
Died.
dying, and now there's a new atheism, which is basically new atheism but with more whining.
Yeah, exactly. Which I didn't even think was possible, really. But
Well, like I even
Um,
saw this one guy who I left a comment on his post. He was like, uh things no, that's his welcome back to my series. No, that's not in the Bible. And he's like, hello, I used to be a pastor, but now I am a scholar. And then he proceeds to be like
okay.
this whole thing like, yeah, so which one? I think it was the food laws. Going on about like how Christians don't follow the food laws. And then I paused. I was like, you're a scholar? You're a scholar?
Self-proclaimed.
Scholars
Self-taught.
know scholars know because they've read the text that New Testament Christians are not bound to the food customs of the Jewish text. There's
Acts
not that
10.
that's
Yeah.
and you can still partake in it, but like the Council of Jerusalem and Paul's letter to Galatians make it so very clear, it does not mean that you have to partake in those things in order to be considered truly a Christian. It's just ridiculousness. Anyways,
I mean, I think when people do, most of the times when people do bad things, they're actually thinking they're doing a good thing. They have a rationalization for it. I mean, the
course.
extreme is the parents who don't let their kids get blood transfusions for
course.
religion. I mean, they're not trying to kill their kids.
No.
They think they're doing the right thing. And
Yeah.
that's the problem, you know.
I mean, that's one of my
Jehovah's
favorite forms of
Witness.
evolution. People who refuse.
Yeah. That's
did you say Jehovah's Witness?
Yeah. No, you actually cannot receive a blood transfusion in Jehovah's Witness
Yeah.
because they consider it similar to drinking
Yeah.
blood.
Darwin Awards. Yeah, exactly. As long as they
Not
refuse
for their kids, obviously.
Yeah,
That's the shame. That that is child abuse.
Well, we
It's
want them
not-
to.
it's- yeah.
We want them to refuse before they have kids.
But hang
Well,
on,
exactly.
you know what's
You want them to
weird?
refuse from sound.
He just said that was child abuse? Hold
Well,
up. Let me
he's
back up
talking-
a second.
He's
hell.
talking
Yeah.
about.
Well,
he's
I mean,
talking about the
I
blood
don't-
transfusion, like not letting your child get a blood transfusion. He's
Okay.
calling it child abuse. But I know Ricky does not support transgenderism. If Lawrence does, I mean, really, do we talk about child abuse? And I guarantee you, Ricky Gervais is pro-abortion. Really? You want to talk about child abuse? I mean, I agree with you that denying your child a blood transfusion is extremely problematic, right? Just from a logical perspective and obviously from a life-saving medical perspective. But when we are killing 60 million kids in the United States, right, 1 million a year, where's the child abuse that? Like, where's the accusation of child abuse there, Ricky?
I'm
You were
still
so
confused how this is ending religion.
well, and I love how he says this convo made me atheist. Like, my guy,
He's been atheist.
I know really what were you before? Yeah.
I don't know. That it's just. I'm hoping we eventually get to the actual argument that this guy assumes. I mean, put in here. Not by mocking faith, by exposing how the
Not by mocking faith. Uh-huh.
but by exposing how religion often teaches people to fear uncomfortable truths. Excuse me? From rejecting evolution to denying life-saving medical care. Okay, so this is just gonna be a huge amount of straw man. So I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, it should be fun.
They don't reproduce. But,
Yeah.
but that's part of the problem. I've talked to someone else. We've talked to Noam Chomsky, and he used to say that with me that he didn't care what people believe; it's what they
Chomsky.
do that matters. But the problem is what you believe affects.
Ah, yes, that fountain of intelligence, that intellectual powerhouse, Noam Chomsky, who has been right about precisely 0 things. Seriously.
So you do. So when you
name
have
me-
these
name me
crazy
one-
beliefs, like I'm doing are you a
I
favor
would
by
love for him to name me one thing that Noam Chomsky was right about. I'll wait. We're gonna be here a while.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds right to him because it affirms his worldview,
Right.
or at least the parts that he thinks it affirms.
Yeah.
by not allowing you to have a transfusion, I ultimately do silly things, and so that's the reason. It seems to me that's the reason to be grounded in reality at some level, because you don't do silly things.
Of course.
Sure. Okay, so let's
Yeah,
reject
but-
Jehovah's
but-
Witness.
But
Fine by me.
he's right as well. If people just believe,
Find silly things.
Right.
Like, define silly things here.
Because for my money, the silliest thing is
Because-
to reject 1,700 years of reasoned thought. Well, I mean, really 2,000 years, but of mainstream reasoned thought and ideas. To me, that's the sillier thing.
Yeah. I mean, not even just 1,700 years, but like thousands and thousands of years of just the
Right,
idea
true.
that there's something out there, and then that something out there is the foundation of all scientific efforts and mathematical developments, because they're trying to understand the creation that was made by that said being,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially in the West. And so guess what? That's acting on the silly things they believe in. Was, we believe there's a God. We want to better understand his creation, and so they go out and just start trying to understand that. That's acting on the silly belief that he rejects.
Yeah, and it's funny to me. There's 2 things that came to mind there. One is that this is pure Humean thought, right? It's assuming your conclusion that God does not exist, therefore anybody who believes this is silly. And you're like, whoa, hang on, back up a second there. You skipped a step. All right. Step 1, religion has silly concepts. Step 2, question mark. Step 3, God does not exist. It's like, well, hang on there, Chief. You forgot a step. You missed something. But the other thing is, how do you know it's silly? Right? From an atheistic framework, objectively, what is silly? What is irrational?
Well, like, so I saw one of this guy's other clips that he's edited. It was one from years and years ago, like when Alex O'Connor had a baby face, pre-beard,
I was
where
gonna say,
he's
still kinda
debating
does, but okay.
Frank Turek. Yeah, I mean pre-beard.
He's a
which-
youthful looking fella. I will say that.
He is. And so it was when he was debating Turek, and then he cuts this clip, and it's like an hour, but he cuts down, and it's a part where Turk calls him out for the fact that he's trying to apply moral standards while rejecting God's moral standard. But then Alex O'Connor's going about how um, you don't need evil to determine good. And Turk goes, I agree with you, but you do need good to determine what's evil. You need to know what, and he's referring to C.S. Lewis,
Right.
and Connor goes, well, I don't think that's true either. And I'm thinking, then how is it evil? You have to know
Right.
what is good to know what is
Right.
evil. You have to have a standard to decide what is wrong. So to say that no, you don't need to know what's good in order to know evil,
Yeah.
that's logically not possible.
Right. Right. To quote Anthony Rogers, which is something he actually said to me personally. He said, "People will say different strokes for different folks right up until somebody steals their car." The idea that
I remember there.
you have some subjectivity in morality right up until the injustice happens to you, at which point morality suddenly becomes very objective and you're appealing to some sort of authority out there.
I'm trying to remember who it was. There's a lecture I heard where this guy told a story. It's in probably the backlogs of my files somewhere. But he recounts the story about this professor who had the students write this paper, and the students write this paper, and one of them was about how morality is subjective. There is no such thing as objective morality. So then the teacher grades the paper and fails them and writes on it, I don't like blue folders, because that was what was turned in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Student comes in and then makes a whole argument about how it's unjust and unfair that he failed because of a blue folder, and which professor goes, based on your paper, there's nothing I did that's wrong. And the student went back and rewrote his paper because he
Yep.
realized the problem in his own logic. Yeah,
Yeah.
how are you
No.
determining what is silly based on your
Right.
framework? Like, you
Exactly.
don't have
You
a
are
standard
assuming
to base it on.
you are assuming axioms that have been handed to you by Christianity. Right? It determines, or it feeds into uh, what we were talking about uh, last week, which is I can't see that, which is the
Stealing from God by Frank Turek is literally the entire
oh
point of the book, is how atheism tries to stand on itself, stand on the language and dependency of theisms and Christianity specifically, but theism as a whole, but is stealing everything they can from God while also trying to reject him as a standard, such as things in causality, reason, um, morality,
yeah
science, even. And it's like you you're taking the language that that depends on the idea, my gosh, of a standard outside of humanity, outside of
yeah
creation, but yet you're rejecting that standard exists, but also appealing to it. It's not consistent.
yeah you're right, and that's kind of what I was getting at, right? I think it was 2 weeks ago we talked about how people will benefit from Christianity while rejecting it, and use David Wood's analogy of a man who wants apples but hates apple trees, right? It's logically inconsistent and it makes no functional sense to reject values determine or reject what determines the values that you live by. Right? Atheism did not get these ideas in itself, right? Secular humanism does not get these ideas of rationality, of consciousness, of science, of just philosophy and morality and ethics and all of this stuff. They don't emerge from atheism. They emerge from Christianity, from the axiom that because God exists, good exists. If God does not exist, where is good to be found?
Yep.
Right? And I've used that argument in the past, and people have said, oh, that's just God of the gaps. And it's like, no, 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 no. Right? Yes, God, in a sense, fits into that gap. However, The only reason that gap exists is because you've taken God out. That's not God of the gaps, right? God of the gaps would be like, I don't know where morality comes from, therefore I assume it's God. No, no, no. I'm saying morality can only come from an objective source. God is the only possible objective source. That's not God of the gaps, that's reasoning. That's what we call logic.
Yeah, they have their own gaps issue.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or people believe in any god or whatever, or witches and warlocks. But if they start infringing on my rights to play out their fantasies, then that's when.
Oh, is this an ad?
We've uncovered why deals actually go
All right. Well, while that's playing, infringing on your rights. I mean,
To do what?
hold on. I mean, yeah, exactly. So, what are we defining as rights right now? Because if it's like actual basic human rights and someone's infringing upon them, well, then sure, that's the failure of the people, not the religion, unless the religion
Right.
teaches that. Islam. But yeah, that's a failure of the peoples. Like Christians have failed, but it doesn't mean that Christianity is false. I mean, it's still
Right.
clearly true due to its evidence behind it, its presuppositions, its there's a whole bunch of things you talk about that it just keeps adding up. Whereas like Islam, it goes the other direction. But like, what rights are you talking about? Like if someone's talking about LGBTQ rights, the right to get married, and it's like, well, the right is still there to get married. We're just
Well,
saying that what they want to do
That
is
actually,
not
I
the
think,
definition of marriage.
I actually think we disagree there. I don't think that right is available because I don't think
Okay.
it's a right. I don't think men have a right to marry
saying
men. It's not a possibility, right? It's not an ontological possibility.
Right.
Right? Because marriage is more,
I don't
and I'm not blaming you for this. I want to make this clarification. Marriage is more than a piece of paper. Right? Marriage is more than the state, than filing taxes with the state. Right? Marriage is a covenant between one man and one woman before God. And then it is the image of Christ in his church. That's why people don't seem to understand it's not a possibility. Right? Church cannot marry church. Christ cannot marry Christ.
Right.
That doesn't make sense, right? Two things of the same substance cannot be wed to one another. When I say same substance, I mean like same ontological category, right? Man and man cannot happen. How can one man be flesh with one man? They are already one man. How do one man and one man make one man? Right? This is different, and I can hear the Muslim right now, saying, "Oh, see, you see." But this is different, right? We're not talking about substance when we talk about Trinitarianism. We're talking about person, right? Three persons in one being. Those are different ontological categories. In this case, it's the same category. It's one man and one man. One man and one man cannot make one man. One woman and one woman cannot make one woman. But one man and one woman can make one being, one person, one man, one flesh.
Right.
Right. So yeah, to that point
I'm
of
confused. What's the part that we disagree on?
no, it wasn't so much a disagreement as right. So if he's saying the right to get married is infringed upon, I would say no, it isn't, because gay people cannot marry one another. Right? Men cannot marry men. Ontologically
that was
speaking,
my
it's
argument.
just not possible.
Right.
So, but I mean, his
Sorry, maybe I misunderstood you because that was my argument too.
okay, yeah, no, you're good. And maybe I misunderstood. Who knows? A misunderstanding happened somewhere. But his statement of my rights are being infringed, it's more, you have the right and the ability. You have the ability to do anything you want. But when we talk about the word right means to have freedom to do something without consequence. Right? I have the right to live. I have the ability to live without consequence. I have the freedom to do so. Right? I have the right in America, we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I have the right to live. I have the freedom to do so without consequence. I have the freedom to have liberty without consequence. And I have freedom to pursue happiness without consequence. Now, of course, that last one is dependent upon the other two. So if I am depriving somebody of their life or their liberty, I lose that right to pursuit of happiness because now there are consequences. If your actions naturally generate consequences, that is not a right. I do not have the right to go stab Josh in the face. There are consequences to that. I have the ability. I do not have the right. So when you talk about your rights are being infringed, the only thing that can be infringed is actions that have consequences. Because rights come from actions that do not have consequences. That is the big difference here. And that's what he's getting wrong. He's saying, oh, my rights are infringed. No, your actions are infringed. There is a big difference. I'm sorry you can't just go and sleep with a woman and then kill the child that comes from that. Well, you can, but you ought not have the ability to. You ought not have that right to. I'm sorry you want to do that. Truly, I am sorry that you want to do that. Because that is a deep and corrupt, it's a deep corrupting force of the soul. And I wish that you didn't have that. I wish you had higher desires. I wish you had better desires. But given that you don't, I'm not going to provide you the right to do so. I'm not going to say you have the ability to do that without consequence. And so that really is his complaint, is that there are consequences to my actions. Yeah, sorry, dude. But that's not infringing upon a right. That's infringing upon an action. Big difference. Big difference. I apologize for the car that just zoomed.
Oh, yeah,
outside.
I know, I agree. But I guess my problem is that no one's an island. I mean, so.
I've never had a problem with spirituality or people believing in any god or whatever, or witches and warlocks.
Yeah.
But if they start infringing on my rights to play out their fantasies, then that's when I've got a say in it.
Yeah, but I know, I
Right,
agree. But I
right
guess
there,
my problem
right
is that
there.
no one's an island. I mean,
To go out and play out
if you-
there. Okay, so then the right you're looking for is to just go have lots of sex. You have the ability to do that, and right now in at least Western culture, you have the right to do that. Right? You can just go out and have lots of sex, and there's no consequence. Now, I think there should be. I think there should be social consequences that come with that. Right? It's a little hard to enforce legally, but at the very least, there should be social consequences for that. If you act like a whore, you should be known as one. But
Is that a right or a freedom?
I would say it's both. Right now in America, I would say it's a right because it's an action that you can take that cannot be infringed upon currently. In
I guess I asked that because
in any legal way, right? Like the American government cannot take action against you if you are abiding in consenting of age sexual relationships. The American government presently does not interfere with that. And then, of course, you have the freedom to do that, right? You have the freedom to do whatever you like. Just understand that your actions may have consequences.
right.
these crazy beliefs, you have kids or you have neighbors, and you impact on others. And so at some level,
Of course, but we should say that most religious people are normal. They just happen to believe in God, and we think they're wrong.
Wait.
But you know,
Okay, that was like a backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
Um,
You're normal. You're just an idiot and a fool, and everything you believe is wrong. Oh, well, thanks, Ricky. I appreciate that.
all right, so like when you have to settle for insults over an actual argument, then I already like lose respect for your argument.
Yeah.
Quote unquotes.
I've often said and nice religious people, nice
Yeah.
normal religious
Yeah, yeah,
people
yeah.
know
Church of
that-
England types.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
know the bits to ignore in
Yeah,
the Bible,
yeah.
and
They
so
can choose.
they
Everyone
don't need the
does.
Bible.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you-
Ignore in the Bible? We don't ignore the Bible. We just know what it teaches that we are to do versus what we have to do versus what we just know were prescribed way back when. Again, with the food one, it was prescribed for Israel to do so. Jews and Christians can still partake in kosher following if they desire to, if they view it as a way to glorify God. You are not prescribed to do that. So now it's a descriptive thing for modern day Christians.
Right,
It
right,
was
but,
prescriptive for the Israelites.
right, but let's consider what he's saying here. They're talking about the quote unquote crazy parts, right, and to not infringe upon the rights. And he's saying most Christians know to skip that part of the Bible. What do you mean? What does that mean? I mean, infringe upon your rights. What part of the Bible is that I'm supposed to be skipping?
Yeah.
What part of ethics and morality that you disapprove of are people skipping in the Bible? Right? Are you talking about like liberal Christians who affirm LGBTQ stuff and promote abortion? And I should really put Christians in air quotes there. Right? Or are you talking about like what Josh was talking about, right? Where it's the ceremonial law that we don't abide by. In which case, Christ fulfilled the law, didn't abolish it. Right? The purpose is still the same. The purpose is still to be kosher, right? To be holy, to be set apart. That remains. However, now the Holy Spirit does that within us rather than following the law.
Yeah.
And God does the sanctifying work there rather than us following the law. So is that the part you're talking about? Or are you talking about this idea that morality exists? Right? Like that we have a belief system that dictates that you cannot just do whatever you want because that's not good. It's not good for you. It's not good for society. And I think we've seen that. I think we have seen the push for ultimate autonomy fall flat on its face. Right? And I think you hit that peak really kind of around 2020 to 2022, I would say. Or it was just en masse. You can't tell me what to do with my body. You can't tell me that children shouldn't have body parts lopped off in the name of following some whim that my 5-year-old told me. She said she felt like a boy today. So I started putting her on puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones. And then we're going to get a surgery scheduled for when she's a teenager. And we're going to keep reinforcing this for her, even when she starts to have doubts and think, you know what, maybe I really am a girl. No, we're going to tell her she's a boy. You got to stay committed to this thing that you told me when you were 5 or even younger. Right? Like some people have had their 2-year-olds tell them that they felt like the opposite sex that day. And they went from there into just constantly hammering home these ideas. Right, so is that the part that you're talking about avoiding? What part of scripture and morality are we supposed to just avoid? Right, what are the normal Christians, quote unquote, avoiding?
Seems to me like majority of this video, we're only 3 minutes in.
Yeah.
We already
We're
have,
not
like,
going
how
to
many
get through this
straw mans?
video.
No, how many straw mans do we have in this already? Do we have to
It's
stop and fix
at least
like
5
5?
or 6. Yeah.
In less than 3 minutes? That's rough.
You know the bad bits
Yeah,
from the good bits.
yeah.
You
Oh,
don't need it.
Yeah.
And we that's what we call extremists and fundamentalists. They're the people who believe the bad bits in their holy book as well.
Yeah, they don't realize that if you
that's not what fundamentalists are. That's not fundamental. So first off, historical fundamentalism was going back to the fundamentals of the faith. Fundamentalism of what's become. Let me rephrase this. There's the fundamentals that we as Christians agreed that we need to get back to. We need to get back to the foundation, back to the fundamentals. That was original fundamentalism. So every true Christian is gonna agree on the fundamentals. which deal with how we ought to seek
Right,
after
and
Christ, that Christ is the only way, that he died and rose for our sins, and that he's God, etc., etc.
right.
Fundamentalists are not even people who are necessarily following those rules. Fundamentalists, honestly, are actually adding on to Scripture, and so they're saying like dancing is a sin. Bible doesn't condemn dancing. It
Quite the
says
opposite.
that KJV is the only translation. It never says
1611,
there's such
only
as a
way to
translation as
heaven.
the translation. um, they'll say like that they're actually importing things on there, and so I would actually say that fundamentalists are usually more legalists. They're not actually fundamental following. Weirdly enough, they're actually adding on to the gospel in many ways. Not all. Like I don't want to throw that on everyone, but there's like different layers of fundamentalists, and then there's interpretations of certain texts which tend to fall under fundamentalists. But even then, like an example is almost every fundamentalist is a YEC, but not all YECs are fundamentalists, right? So like we got to be careful like where we slap fundamentalists on to people, but still, that's not what fundamentalism is. So, for instance, you and I would agree that, like we just described, are things that he would say that we should reject, but we still follow.
Right.
That's not fundamentalism in like the negative sense. That's just being a good steward of the text. That's called
Right.
being a follower of Christianity.
Right. It's called
And
being a
those who are
Christian.
rejecting those things, such as like ethics, is brings up the question: are they actually a Christian? Because Christianity is not just a thing that you like follow ethically and culturally. It's a actual worldview that you assign your allegiance to and have repented and believed that in the gospel of Jesus Christ. So was it number 7 of bad argument?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If you took, well, we used to, if you took the Old Testament literally, it's a horrible thing. And people complain about Islam and Muslim, but
What do you mean? All right, hold on. I'm getting tired of the whole you have to take it literally. What do you mean by literally? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, like even in my Genesis video, you can see that when people say take things literally, either they're not taking it literally, they think they are, but they're not, or they're having a different definition of what literal means. So like, what do you mean by literal? You're just saying
yeah.
they take it literal doesn't define it. Because like, for instance, you and I take Genesis literally. We're doing a podcast series. We're literally describing what it says, what it means. That's not the same thing as like what he is probably entailing, which means therefore, oh, you're taking it analogously. No, I'm taking it on this basis of what the meaning means in the words and what
Right,
it teaches. So I'm
Right,
defining literal as what the literal meaning that the author intends to communicate.
Well,
But
and I
he's intending it
imagine-
as like something else.
Yeah, I imagine he's more so referring to the law, right? The taking of the law literally.
Oh yeah,
Which is, the idea that he's probably going, oh, well, it says in Deuteronomy that if your son disobeys you, you ought to go out and stone him to death. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that was literally intended that way? Right? How do you prove that accusation in a society with no established court system, no police force? Right? It'd be mob rule chaos. Obviously, it's not literal in that sense, right? God is not literally commanding stoning to death a child for disobedience. The idea, as with all law codes in the ancient Near East, was to be a guidance, not a literal rule book. It was a, hey, if your child is disobedient, you need to correct that immediately and with the proper harshness, right? Because a rebellious child can lead a nation astray. That's the idea there.
and from
It is not.
Moses,
Huh?
and from Moses. Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry.
no. Go ahead.
Finish. You finish. I'm sorry.
I was
And from most of the
pretty much-
scholarship
I was-
that I've
I was pretty much done. I was just gonna say, the reason the way the law is laid out as it is is because of the culture of the time. This would have been perfectly well understood by the Israelites that this is not a literal rule book that we are following. And it was never taken that way. It was never taken that way. That's why in John
And I was going
8,
to say, let's say to that point, I think there's a slight delay between you and I. And that's why we're getting
I think so too.
crossed up in each other.
I think so too.
I was just going to say that. In most scholarship that I've read, and like you said with ancient Eastern texts, we already know that the Torah is not the legislation of Israel. It does not contain every legislative thing of Israel. In fact, there's many things that you'd expect there to be that there's a severe lacking of, or there's it's just not present because it's not focused. That's not its purpose. Like there's like certain marital things that you'd expect to be in there, but they're not there because it's teaching a wisdom thing about marriage, which then applies to all the other things around it. And then you find that there's other texts that seem to allude to a further legislation of Israel. Anyways, you're saying with John.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why in John 8, it's more about it's Christ kind of pointing out the hypocrisy there, right? That they're just now going to take this law literally in order to try and trap him and in order to try and present themselves as superior to him, right? It's not. We kind of talked about it in a class. It's not at all meant to be taken literally. It's just going to be my point, right? Literally in the sense that he means it.
Right. Well, like even oh, I just lost my train of thought. I had my thought. He was on the train. We were going. It was a good point. It was piggybacking off something you said. What? Hold on. Can you restate what you said about John?
Sure, just that.
John 8.
Just like we were talking about in the class, where the Pharisees bring the woman caught in adultery, and they are going to stone her and taking the law literally. Yeah.
I was gonna say that I know why. I understand why they translate as law in like the Greek and some of the Hebrew. I get that, but the word Torah can refer to law, but given the actual stuff that's within there, for instance, Genesis 1 through everything doesn't really describe laws. It describes stuff that is like describing Israel and its origins, or describing God's relation to humanity. It would be better understood as teaching. So like he fulfills all the teachings and the laws, but we kind of like to have, and therefore that shows that our misappropriate or misuse of those texts because they've turned it into all those issues. But anyways, yeah. Well, I know people who are going to be watching like, all right, why didn't you watch the whole thing? We're only 3 minutes in. Because
well,
I'm going to be honest, we can keep
it took
picking
us
apart. It's
40
going to be
minutes.
like this the entire video.
Yeah, I was going to say, it took us 40 minutes to get through 3 minutes of the video. Multiply that by 8, my friends, because that's how long this video is.
Yeah, because this video has so many problematic statements, and his ideas like Ricky Lawrence Krauss end religion. They don't end religion. They actually just demonstrate their severe lack of understanding of religion, and you can tell by their language that they're specifically focusing on Christianity.
Yeah.
But they've gotten so many things wrong. They're claiming certain things to be fundamentalist. They're claiming certain things to be infringing upon rights. They're claiming certain things to be silly. But they're applying all these standards, one, without an actual foundation for a standard, and two, they're applying these things without actually knowing what we believe and what the text actually teaches. And we're not even 4 minutes in. Not even 4 minutes in. This is just bad. So, Skeptic Scriptura, take this video down. This is just horrendous work. This is
honestly no. Don't take it down.
If this
don't
makes
take it
you
down.
atheist,
it's comedy, right? We get a good laugh out of this.
okay, then change the video title because this is just wrong right here. if this video is making you atheist, if this video makes you atheist, I got some real questions for you.
Yeah.
I got some questions for you. But we're gonna end a little early tonight, just because I think the point's been made with that video.
Yeah.
It looks like I don't see any questions in the chat today. So we have a video, Lord willing, coming out tomorrow. It'll be Caleb's John 1 and a Greek introduction. It's a long one, but it's really cool. It's really good. It's really cool. So if you
Thank you.
want like a nice crash course into Greek, use that. And then we have Council of Ephesus comes out on Friday. Live stream, Lord willing, on Thursday. And then we will see you guys, Lord willing, either on Thursday or next Tuesday.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Thanks for those who are tuning in either now or later. We hope to see you guys in future streams. Let us know what we can do to make it more engaging for you guys, whether it be doing some more interactive stuff or more response stuff or just something else that would be of more of interest to you and your time, especially for these Tuesday streams. All right.